So this tutorial we're going to be looking at operators. So these are the basic mathematical operators we have that we can use in Java. So as you can see, we use this plus sign for addition, minus for subtraction, and times for division. This is actually the asterisk because there is no times on the keyboard, or we use asterisk actually for multiplication, and then this forward slash for division, and then the percentage sign, which is the modulus operator. So now we're going to look at each one after the other. We're going to look at them. So now what I'm going to do now is to declare two variables that we're actually going to be working with. So now I'm just going to declare, let them be of integer type. So I'll declare int, so I'll just name it value1, then assign it to a value. I'm just going to give it 5, and then another one, int value2, so I'm just going to give it to the value 2. So now let's try to add these numbers. So I will declare another variable here and then call it result to actually hold the addition result of this one and this one. So results equals value1 plus value2. So now let me try to print this out. Results. So when we run this, we should get and here we got 7. That's because 5 plus 2 is 7. Isn't that? Yeah, I think it's correct. Now let's look at the other operators we can use. So what I'm going to do now is to redeclare this variable. I'll change this to x, and then I'll change this to y. Take note that your variable names should be descriptive. What I mean is your variable name should tell what your variable does or what your variables does. So they should be descriptive. So now what I'm going to do is to, let's say, x plus y equals, so first I will say x equals, then the value of x, then here y equals y, and here I'll say x plus y, and then here we can use x plus y. So now you can press Ctrl D to duplicate this, and Ctrl D again, Ctrl D. So I'm just going to change this to subtraction, and then here subtraction. Oh, here I actually forget. Here instead you should use parentheses here, because this is an expression. So whenever you're using an expression, and here, because we are using a string with an expression, so it is good to use the parentheses. So you should use parentheses here. And then the next one is multiplication, and change this sign to multiplication, and then division. Here division, I'm going to press Ctrl D again for the modulo, and modulo. Let me run this first and see what we'll get before I'll explain this again. So let me run this. and here we go. Let me expand this. So x is equals to y. As you can see, this is just an assignment. We are assigning x to the value 5 and y to the value 2. I put this up just to show you, in order to see which values x and y are representing. So then x plus y is equals 7. That's because 5 plus 2 will give you 7. And then x minus y, we get 3. 5, which is the same as 5 minus 2, which is 3. And then x times y, that is, x is 5, so 5 times 2, we got 10. And then 5 divided by y, which is 5 divided by 2, so we got 2, but there's a remainder, right? Remainder 1. So, and then here x modulo y, we got 1. So what is this modulo operator? So what this modulo operator do is to divide the variable. So when it divides x and y, actually basically it just returns the remainder for a division. That's it, simple as that. It's just give you the remainder of an division, of a division. So when we divide 5 by 2, what we'll get is 2, right? But what is the remainder? The remainder is 1. So the modulo operator just returns the remainder for a division. So these are the basic ones. So let me explain this again. So x, we just join this together. X is equals to, then print out the value of x. Y is equals to, print out the value of y. Then x plus y plus. The reason why I use this is because I use this parenthesis inside is because what is within is an expression. So, and we are joining it with this string. So that's why I use this parenthesis. If I were to remove this, as you can see here, we got an error earlier. That's because I forgot to put it. So you see, we still get the error. So if I can see, cannot, then what, subtract, cannot applied on java.lang.string. That's because it is a string. This is a string, we cannot apply a subtraction on it. So that's why we put the equation inside parentheses. So this is not actually the only data type you can use for this for all these multiplication and subtraction operators. We can actually use a double or float. So let's try to use float on this, and here let's try float. So here let's assign it to 5.5 f and 5.2 f. So what is this f? This f represents a floating point number, because when you're assigning a variable to a floating point number and you declare the variable as float, you must suffix f to the expression. You can actually use capital F. Actually, you can use a capital F. You can also use the small f. So because if you now use this f, it will be detected as a double, which but for the double, we can use double, and then let's try z. Let me give it to a double value. So for the double, you can actually also use d to indicate that this is a double, or capital D to indicate that this is a double. So if I try to run this once more, we should, so this addition, it will perform the addition for the floats on these float numbers 5.5, 2.5. Let's try to run this. So as you can see here, 5.5 plus 2.5, we got f(0). 5.5 minus 2.5, we got 3.0. 5.5 minus times 2.5, we got 13.75, and 5.5 divided by 2.5, we got 2.2, and then 5.5 modulo y, we got 0.5. So why do we get this? Notice in the previous example, we got the value of x divided by y as 2, which there is a remainder actually, but because we declared the variables as integer, so that's why the result we have is an integer value. But now, since we're using a floating point number, so the variables data type are actually floats, hence our result is float. So now what I'm going to do is to declare 3 variables, so x, y, z respectively. X equals 5, and then another one, y equals 6, and then z equals 2. So now what I'm going to do is to define another variable and then name it result. I'm going to assign it to the value of x plus y. So now let me write the print these values on the screen. Dot print line. So x equals x, Control D, y, Control D, z, Control D again. Here should be results, to see what we have in results. So let me run this. And we have x, the value of x, 5, the value of y, the value of z, and then the results. As you've seen, result we are just adding these values, we are just summing them, and then store the result in variable result. So now let's move on. So assuming now you want to perform all of these operations, mathematical operations, the addition, multiplication, subtraction, and then the modulus operators on results with the variable y. Let me show you what I mean here. Here, let's assume we want to use result here. So result equals results plus x. Here we are actually increasing the value of result by z, which is 2. We are increasing the value of results by 2. In traditional mathematics, it doesn't make any sense to assign a value with its value again. There's like x equals x. It doesn't make any sense, but in programming it makes complete sense, because here what we have in result here, which is 11, will be added to what we have in z, which is 2, and then store the result in result again. So what I'm going to do now is just to print this out. System out, that's print line. So let's say result plus z equals result. So let's repeat this process for all the other operators, and then here we can perform our subtraction here, and then say results minus results, and then multiplication here, multiplication, and then division here, division, and then the modulo here, modulus. So let's run this. So here's our values: x5, y6, z2, result 11. So these are our values, and here result plus z, we got 13, and then result minus z, which is 11. Don't forget here result is 11. 11 plus 2, we got 13, and then here result has changed to 13. So 13 minus 2, we got 11. 11 times 2, we got 22. 22 divided by 2, we got 11, and then 11 modulo z, we got 1. So what I want to show you here is there is actually an easy way of doing this. As you can see here, we're just using the result and then add it with 2, and then result subtract it by 2, result multiply it by 2, result divided by 2, and then result perform the modulo operator by 2. So there is actually an easy way of doing this, and to do this we can actually use the for this one here, we can use result plus equals z. So what this does is to actually get the value of result. So what we have in result, it is going to add it with the value that is here and then store the value in here, which is exactly like this one. As this one, result will be added with the value of z and then store it in result. So this is the easier way of doing this. So if I try to replace this with that one, result plus equal z, and so also here we can use for minus, we will use results minus equal z, and then for the multiplication we can use times equals results, and then for division divide by equals results, and then for the modulus equals z. So now let me run this. We should have the same output, and you see this is actually the same as the previous one we run. So what we did here is just I've shown you an easy way of doing it. So this is actually very cool. You should keep this at the back of your mind. What you have here will be used with this operator that is here, and then perform it on this values, and then perform this operation, and then store the value in this variable, the variable at the left side. Actually, these are also called assignment operators. These ones, they are assignment operators. All these ones, the plus equal, minus equal, times equal, divide by equal, and then modulo equal, they're called assignment operators. So don't forget. And also for subtraction, what you have in result will be subtracted with what you have in z, and then store the value again in result. There is actually two more operators I like us to talk about, which are often very used: the increment and then the decrement. We use the increment to increase a variable value by 1. We use decrement to reduce the value of a variable by 1 as well. Let me show you an example. Let's say we have a variable here, a, with 0. So what I'm going to do now is to increment this variable. So let me just print out the value. So print, do this again. So I'll say a equals. Now because I'm performing an operation on it, so I'm going to put it inside a parenthesis. Then a plus plus, this is actually it. We use the double plus sign in front of the, this is actually the post increment. We have two types of increment. I'll also show you the other one, and for now let's run this. And here you see we got a equals 0. But now let's try the other one. Let's try to the pre-increment and see what are the difference. So now a equals, so now I'll put the plus, double plus in front of the a, in front of the variable we want to increment. So let me run this again, and you see in the first line we have 0, and then in the second line we have 2. But wait, did I not say that it only increments the value by 1? Yes, it does increment the value by 1, but because here, let me bring this down a bit, but because here we are actually increment, if you use the post increment, so the value will be returned before it is incremented. So now the value is 0, so the value is first returned before it will be incremented, before it will be increased by 1. But if you use the pre-increment, it will first increase the value and then return the value. That's the difference between the post and the pre-increment. There is also the the decrement. So let's see how the decrement works. Print line. So a equals, so let's say a minus minus, so here it decreased the value by 1. And then let's try for the other one, the pre-decrement. Actually a equals, a minus minus, and I have an error here. And then let's run this again. Oops, sorry, here should be pre, not post. And here we go. Here we have 0, 2, and then here the decrement. In the decrement, as you see here, we use the post decrement, so the value is reduced only after it will first return the value before it's decrease the value by 1. But here, that's why we have 2 here. But here, after it returns the value, remember it then it decreased the value. So now it returns 2 and then decrease it by 1. It becomes 1 again. So here it will first decrease the value and then return it. So it decreases 1 by 1 and then it returns 0, because now we only have 0 left. So let's pause and discuss operator precedence. Yeah. Operator precedence is the order of in which operators are evaluated. Like, let's for instance say we have another variable here. Let's just say output, so I'm just going to out, and then let me assign it to, let's say 3 plus 2 times 3, let's say, for instance. So let me try to print this out on the screen. So let me run this. Here we have output 9. That's because in normal mathematics the multiplication has a higher precedence than the addition, so it will first multiply these numbers. 2 times 3, so we got 6, then add it with 3. But you also, in Java, you have the power to control this precedence, the operator precedence, so you can specify which operation are evaluated first. So by using the parentheses here, let's say we want this one to be executed first, we want to add them, we want to sum them before then multiply by 3, so we use parentheses. So if I try to run this again, we should have a different result, and as you can see we got 15 because 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 5 times 3 is 15. That's operator precedence. So let's see how we can calculate our age using our birth year and the current year. So let's define the first variable we're going to define is the birth year. So birth year, I'm going to assign this to 2000, then int current year it is 2023. Oops, sorry. So let me just write this again. Current year 2023. Then now let's define the age here. So age is going to be current year minus birth year. So I have an error. Apparently you didn't tell me. I was hoping you're going to help me out. So now let's print it out on the console. Let's see if our age is correct. So let me run this here. And here we have our age. That is awesome. So this is the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this.